Ladies and gentlemen, I have a very special treat for you today on the HammondCast show on KYOU Radio in San Francisco. Today, I'm in Frankfurt, Germany, and not just any place in Frankfurt. I'm in a very special place. This is the inner sanctum of the Hessischer Rundfunk, also known as HR. And I'm here with the leader, the director, the conductor of the famous Hessischer Rundfunk Big Band, Mr. Örjan Fahlström. Is that right, Örjan?
Yeah, that's right. It's a typical Swedish name.
Well, it's really a big pleasure to have you on the show today, Örjan. And thank you for taking the time to join us on our show. You're doing a fantastic thing here with so many great musicians. How large is the HR Big Band these days?
Yeah, it's a common setup for a big band. 4 trumpets, 4 trombones, 5 saxes on rhythm section. Mm-hmm. And, well, it's a traditional big band.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know our good friend Tony Lakatosh is playing some tenor on the band, and who are some of the other cats on the band?
There's a lot of fantastic cats in the band, but Tony is a great player, and we have the sections are full of extremely competent players. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is really a big band, a radio big band. And
right.
I mean, we have a lot of commitments to fulfill to the HR as a show band, as a jazz orchestra, and so on. So, I mean, that the diversity of commitments that we have to do with this band is really, we have a wide range of things that we have to do. So.
I know in some of the German radio bands, sometimes they have different drummers. Do you have a permanent drummer, or are you taking different drummers for different projects?
No, we have for example, in Hamburg they have open shares, but we have closed all shares. We have guys employed actually for 100% playing all the time. I think that is a good thing if you get the right guys.
Who's the drummer on the band, though?
His name is Jean-Paul Hochstetter, a German drummer, Jankat. He's really swinging.
So, Örjan, you are the new leader of the Hessischer Rundfunk Band. When I first came here in the 90s, the leader was Kurt Bong. Yeah. And the funny thing was there was Herbert Bing in the band as well. So we had Bing and Bong, you know.
Yeah, Bing and Bong, the drummer.
Yeah. And then afterwards, I know Jörg Achim Keller was here. Yeah. And how long was Jörg Achim on the band?
He was, I think he was for 7-8 years. Actually. He was for a long time. He was really developing the band, and he did a tremendous work to building the band and doing a great job. He did a really great job. And so now I think he's in Hamburg.
You came in very recently, right?
Yeah, I was beginning the 1st of September this year. So
wow, congratulations. That's really fantastic.
Yeah.
It was a great legacy here. How many years has this band been in existence?
Oh, it has been for many years. I think from the second half of the 40s. I think they started up the band, or even earlier, because the radio stations here in Germany is quite old. So yeah.
And for our listeners, I want to explain also that you have a long tradition with the Hessischer Rundfunk Band, the big band, of having special guests, artists, come in. Not only artists, but also composers or the works of a certain artist. And some of them I know, and some of them are unfamiliar to me, but they're always fantastic, high level of music, you know. And about a little over 10 years ago, 2 American guys I know were here, and that was Benny Golson, who's not only a great saxophonist, but fantastic composer, you know, Killer Joe and Along Came Betty and, you know, Blues March, and he's great. And he came with Kenny Burrell, you know. So you had after Bing and Bong came the Kenny and Benny. So, you know, it was kind of funny, you know. Yeah. So I was wondering, you know, why they selected Kenny and Benny to come in, but that was really a great show. And then I know recently we had also as a guest on the HammondCast show, we had Bill Cobham, who most people know him as Billy Cobham, but I happen to know that he prefers to be called Bill, So I call him Bill, And of course he was the famous drummer for many, many things, but the Mahavishnu Orchestra was one of his very successful projects. And so our big band, you did there was a program of the Mahavishnu Orchestra music with Bill on drums.
Yeah.
And from that there's a CD, right?
Yeah, that's a CD, and they performed this program this summer. So I think that this record is very successful, and the whole production with the Mahavishnu music is very, very successful.
I can imagine it's fantastically recorded too, because one thing that the Hessische Rundfunk can really do fantastic, besides keeping this band going, is the recording and the acoustics of your concert hall here are really incredible. I've been to some concerts here in the hall, and this concert hall is really fantastic. So do you play with a lot of your concerts take place in this hall here?
Yeah, and we are also playing in Südbahnhof, and recently we played in a city a little south of Frankfurt, down in Schwarzwald in Bühl. So I mean, this band is touring on concert halls surrounding Frankfurt. And, of course, this is a radio band, so mainly we're doing concerts in the Alte Oper, the opera house here in Frankfurt. And
it's another acoustical masterpiece,
Yeah. That's very good.
Well, that's really great, And I was always wondering, to select the program that you present with the Hessische Rundfunk Big Band, since you're the leader, do you select it yourself, or is there a process of people who decide this? How is it decided?
No, I mean, this is a program orchestra. We do the yearly program a long time in advance, and this is kind of tradition how to do this kind of work with the band. And so in the springtime we are settling the program for the coming up, the year which is coming up, and we are making a brochure out of the general program for the playing year, and it has to contain a lot of diversity, of course, and some strictly jazz productions, but actually now we're doing a production for theater, and we do television shows and a lot of different stuff.
Interesting.
And, now for this year we have Jim McNeely as a composer in residence for 2 years, and he's doing a number of productions over the period of 2 years, and that is really good.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What an exciting environment to be a part of all the time.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you also, coincidentally, we were born in the same year, in 1953. And you came from Sweden, from Stockholm. Yeah. And you have a background in vibraphone, playing vibraphone.
Yeah, percussion and vibraphone.
Yeah. And so you got into arranging and conducting. Where did you study all this music?
Yeah, I was studying in the Royal Academic Academy of Music in Stockholm. I was first to do a percussion player, classical percussion player. Played a lot in the jazz scene, of course, but a lot in the opera, concert house, and then I was studying to a classical composer actually, and for many years in the academy, and then I had to quit playing because I got so many commissions of writing and conducting, so I didn't have the time to practice so much.
Yeah,
to be honest. So
well, that's great that
you can't be everywhere.
You came into the position of conducting because this is really the most important thing. Every band needs a leader,
Yeah.
And I know you're a great leader, and I want to congratulate you on your new position here and keeping the tradition going. How did you come to Frankfurt? Were you invited, or did you apply for the job?
No, you cannot apply for this job. It's kind of headhunting.
A special invitation from the...
A special invitation, and I worked with the band for many productions, and
I see.
before, so they knew me, and
right. So they were already familiar with you.
Of course. Otherwise, it wouldn't work.
And before, you were doing some things in Hamburg with our friends at the NDR band.
They have the band in the radio band in Hamburg.
Wow.
So, and of course, I did a lot of concerts and productions in the Scandinavian scene for many years. So, and I had my own bands, and of course.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, you're in a great place with a great one of the great ensembles in the world. So I want to thank you for taking the time to be on our show, and also steer the listeners out there to get more information about the Hessische Rundfunk Big Band. And I believe some of the programs are streamed also from there, and that's www.hr-Bigband.de, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And there you'll see Örjan Fahlström and all the fine musicians on the Hessische Rundfunk Big Band.
It's a great band, man. It's full of great soloists and full of extremely competent players, orchestra players,
and it's known in the jazz world as one of the best gigs in the world. Yeah, absolutely.
I can double on that one.
And the program coming up. Who are you doing now?
Yeah, we are rehearsing with Hurricane from New York, the piano player, and he has a commission to compose new music for the band. And there's the Frankfurt Jazz Festival coming up next week, and we're doing some music, and we are in the middle of the rehearsing now. So
great!
He will come next week, and we play together and having a good time.
Sounds great. Well, I wish I could stick around. I'm just here for a short time, but I want to thank you for coming on the HammondCast show on KYOU Radio in San Francisco. We call it the city by the bay, So before we get out of here, Örjan, what have you got to say to our listeners on KYOU Radio?
Well, keep on listening to jazz, especially big band jazz.